Dan, it is great to see you again. It's been a long time.
Yes. Good seeing you as well. Good to be back in the saddle here.
Yeah, we took a week off, unannounced. Kind of
right.
like playing hooky at school. You just don't show up. Had that naughty feeling about it. I kind of like it.
Yeah, and it didn't really seem, though, like we were a week off. The week went by really fast. There's a lot going on, and here we are, though, back again.
I've been hustling, even though it's August. So I have a program. I track my sales. So I got 5 years of sales data, and August is always the slowest month of my year. So I've started it off, though, kind of the opposite. My sales are up. I've had a lot of orders, and I've been busy making wood too.
Yeah, I do not have a sales tracker, being a hobbyist that I am, but but I actually have noticed that the beginning of the month has been a little busy as well. I had a couple of stacks and a whole bunch of bundles moving.
Yeah. We were real slow production wise the last week and a half, 2 weeks because of the heat. But then we had a real nice, acceptable temperature week, kind of like in the high 70s, made it a little bit more bearable. Minimal rain and just enough to make the darn grass grow, but not like mud's a problem for me anymore.
Well, the weather hasn't been too bad here either, but I'll tell you what's been slowing my production down is I have been having some modifications done to some equipment, and it's been taking a lot longer than I anticipated.
Oh, wow. That's interesting because I have had a lot of repairs and changes. I don't know, not changes, improvements done to my firewood processor. And that kind of has slowed me. Not that it's slowed me down, but it's obviously I haven't been running the machine for the last couple days.
Yeah, I'm trying to improve something on the Easton made with the conveyor speed, but now it's becoming more of a headache and a nightmare, and it's setting me back. It's just not going good.
Yeah. So what's the deal then with the splitter? It's brand new and you're having something worked on it?
Well, I wanted to have a flow control valve put in to control the speed of the conveyor. As this unit came to me, it did not have a control for the conveyor speed put in it. So I wanted to have one added on. So I found a hydraulic shop nearby, 25 miles away, that said they could do it.
Okay.
But that was with them not seeing what they needed to do. And I don't think they've ever done this before. And it didn't quite go as planned.
You wouldn't think it would be that complicated.
Yeah, I didn't think it would be. But I got the machine back. The valve leaks. It doesn't really work like it's supposed to. I don't know.
Huh.
It's a mess.
So your machine doesn't work at all now?
No, it works. If I slow down the conveyor speed, which is what I wanted to do, then it leaks hydraulic fluid out of the valve. So I have to get that somehow. I got to figure out. I think I might end up having to take it back up there, or if I can attempt to take the valve off and maybe retighten it back down and put some, I don't know, like not the sealant that they use on like thread seal. I don't know, something.
Yeah. So it's orange and it leaks oil. That reminds me of my old Vega I drove in high school. It leaked everything. And it was orange. It leaked oil. It leaked gas if I put over $5 in it. It leaked brake fluid. It didn't leak washer fluid because the bottle wasn't even on the car anymore. And it leaked antifreeze.
Wow.
Yeah. You always knew where my car was parked.
Yeah, I've only got one little leak to deal with. And again, this is all like this is what's so frustrating is because it worked fine. I just felt the conveyor was a little fast and a little loud. And
Uh-huh.
so it's my own doing. Like I put myself and the machine in this position by taking it in to have it modified. And now I'm sitting here with a leaky valve.
Yeah, but don't you think it should have a variable control for the outfeed anyways? I don't know.
Well, I did talk to Andrew Easton about that. And he told me when they were testing this is like one of their prototype models. When they were testing this out,
Uh-huh.
they were only running it with a 6-way wedge. And he said they were having trouble keeping the wood moving off the end of the splitter, like it was getting jammed up. So they
Because
put a
it was too slow. The
right.
conveyor, I mean. Yeah.
Yep. So they put a larger motor, hydraulic motor, on the conveyor, which then ran faster, and so that solved the problem. But when you're not running a 6-way and you're only running a box wedge, the conveyor doesn't really need to go that fast, and it's just really loud. And
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's got a chain outfeed, right? So it
yes,
clangs and bangs and makes
yep.
a ruckus. My Axis has one of those, but it's variable, so I can make it go as slow and as fast as I want. But man, if it goes fast, it just doesn't sound. It sounds like it's gonna break the world, because it just bangs and clangs, and it just makes an awful
Yeah,
ruckus.
and it
Yeah,
just seems like it seems like you're putting more extra wear on something that you wouldn't need to. So
I
that's
agree.
another thing
Yeah,
in your mind. You're thinking,
I agree.
"Geez, this thing is banging and running fast, and it doesn't need to. Let me slow it
Hmm.
down."
But then you think, well, maybe it needs to go with a belt, a rubber belt outfeed instead of a chain. But I know that Easton Made's culture is they like robust and strong and durable,
Yep.
where the rubber belt, well, and that gets to what I was dealing with this week. I tore my rubber belt on my infeed.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I kind of feel dumb that it happened. And there's a number, not a, there's a few commenters over the last year with me running this machine pointing out that my belt was a little bit off center and I needed to adjust it, and I never did. And like the rubber belt, it has these metal clips on each end so that you put like this flexible connector through and it like makes it into a loop.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, one of those little eyelets got rubbed loose, and as the belt was coming underneath where it goes through the engine to come out around the other side and up across the top, it got hooked on something. And I was watching my belt come around, and it was 2 inches narrower than what it was going in. So it got hooked on something. It just tore it like fabric, just all the way down the
Oh.
side of it. Yeah. And I trimmed it off. I made it work. It still worked okay. But I parlayed this problem into a repair because I knew Bob Nelson from my dealer, Metza Machines, was on his way through town. So he
Mm.
brought a new belt with him and we got it installed.
Wow. That's
A
so you
very
had
an inexpensive lesson.
yeah. So
Inexpensive. I'm making my air quotes here.
yes.
Inexpensive lesson. Yeah.
So you had issues with having the wood coming in, and I had issues with now with the wood going out.
Yeah.
We're trouble on both ends.
Yeah. One of the frustrations that I think a lot of people have with me, and now that I am feeling it too, if you were to ask me how many cords of firewood have I made with my machine, I can't tell you. I can only estimate, and I could be way off. So I think the machine has like 160 hours on it, and it makes firewood pretty fast. So I'm probably well over 100 cords with it, and I've had to do just routine maintenance, change the oil, grease the grease fittings, this and that. But it just with Bob coming out to visit, I had a whole list of things for him to do when he came out. And we got them all done except for those bolts. I have those 2 bolts that are on the face of the pusher of the ram for the splitter. Those need to be drilled out and removed, and we never got to those.
Mm. Yeah, it's kind of nice when he's and you actually know that he's always going to be down in your neck of the woods once a year for sure for the Paul
Yeah.
Bunyan show.
Well, in this case, he's out delivering and he's on the road with his trailer. And it just so happens that I live directly between Interstate 80 and 90.
Oh
So
yeah,
he's, no matter whenever he's traveling east, he's going right by my place.
that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it was real
it's
nice.
it's also nice that, I mean, Bob provides that type of service, and that's the type of service you get with Metza machines. Though I mean, I think no matter who you are, whatever, if you have issues, you can call them up and get them solved.
Yeah. Well, he will tell you that's usually not part of the program. If it works out, it works out.
Well, I mean,
And
sending you stuff, yeah.
yes. So there was an element of that too. He gave me a sawdust extractor, which is kind of cool because the way I have it set up now, I just have one of those big plastic totes that sits outside of the machine. And where the sawdust comes shooting out that hole, it goes right into it. So the problem, though, is it's right by the air intake of the diesel engine. So it's been sucking up a little bit more dust than probably it should. And now this extractor, it has these big rubber hoses and it sucks the sawdust out and it shoots it into the tote. And you can set that tote pretty far away from the
Wow.
machine. Yeah. So that was installed. Now, this will all be on video. I'm not sure when we'll put this podcast up, but there'll be video of all these repairs. And there had been, I had shown the problem that I was having with the live deck. So that live deck, you can set it up and make it narrow or wide. And we made it as wide as we possibly could, but that made the rollers, because the one slides inside the other, it kind of telescopes in or out, and it stretched the pipe out and it spun inside of it, and it just made the live deck not work right. So we rented a welder and we welded that up. So those repairs are done. And then those rubber flappers that are do you have those on your log splitter at the base of your outfeed where the chain comes up through?
Yes.
Is there like a little rubber flapper there?
Yes.
Yeah. So mine were all worn out. That's a wear item. So he brought new of those and we installed those. And then he just did some other adjustments on it. It was a lot of fun. He brought his employee Ken with him. Boy, those guys just work. So I stay out of their way and let them do their thing.
Yeah, it sounds like you got a lot done. That was a busy day. Jeez.
Yeah, I had another video, like I don't know when all this is going to be up, but that cleaner, it has 32 grease fittings on it.
Holy moly's.
Yeah. So I did a video greasing it and showing how that thing works. It is neat. It's got about 100 chains inside of it. And it is a tough machine, man. I like it.
Going back to your one point about like how many hours, how many chords you have on your machine, that's an area where I'm also like I struggle keeping records of, I'll have people ask me, how long does a chain last on the 365, for the saw, and so I'm going to try to now with the 365 I have, when I change the chain, to note how many hours are on the engine and try to get a comparison to see if, but it all depends on the logs and.
Yeah. I just give an estimate. I don't know. Every time I think that's just not what I'm good at. Like some people, I think I would imagine if you're an accountant, that is what you live for. You just keep these meticulous notes and everything, and you can tell how much fuel that you've burned over how many hours and how much your fuel consumption is per cord and how many chains you go through and this and that. And that's what if you're looking at that for me, you're not going to get it.
Yeah, I am the same way. I have no idea.
And then I estimate. And then I've learned over time too, I'm no good at estimating. When dad was still alive, his furnace broke in his house. And I called a friend who does furnaces, and he says, "Oh, how old is that furnace?" And I says, "I don't know. It's like 10 or 11 years old. It's not that old." So he said, "Well, give me the serial number." So I gave him the serial number. It was 27 years old. I was like, "What the heck?" I said, "I swear, I thought it was 10 years old." He laughed. He goes, "You'd be surprised. That's what everyone thinks about their furnace at home. It's a lot older than they think it is."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a little bit off. Not
Yeah.
too
So,
much.
yeah, whatever I estimate my chain, how long they last, I'm probably wrong with that too.
How long they last before you throw them away. Take it
Yeah,
off and toss it.
I tell everyone that I think I'm right. They last about 6 to 7 tables of logs, because they cut under ideal conditions.
Yes.
They're not gonna hit the ground. There's usually not any rocks or anything, and well, up until some of these logs I have, there's no mud on them either, but I've been dealing with some of that.
Yeah. Well, and then the other thing too is like for me, it's difficult because sometimes like I will go many days in between my run sessions with something like the 365. Like I'm not
Yeah.
consistently every day out there running that machine. So it's hard to keep track of, I can say a chain lasts me 6 months because I maybe only ran it a few times during that 6 months.
Yeah.
That's where it gets difficult for me.
And then I tried to do my Dan from Back 40 impersonation. I did a video changing the chain on it, putting a sharp one on. So I turn around and I obnoxiously like throw my chain into the garbage can, the old one that I took off. Yeah, I was like, "Oh, I'll never do that again." I got I got a lot of people screaming at me saying, "You can sharpen those."
Oh, yes. Yes.
I got tired of replying, "I was joking."
But it isn't as easy to just touch up the chain while it's on your machine or like the 365. It
Yeah,
can be
you can't do
done,
it.
but
Nah, I don't know.
yeah,
You
it's
think?
I
I don't
mean, I
know.
suppose you could.
Yeah.
I've never tried it, but if you were
I
desperate,
take I take my chains to a friend to sharpen them, so I just have a big stash that are sharp and those that are dull.
yep.
Mhm.
And for me, yeah, I'm the same way. It's way easier to just take the chain off, put a new one on, and then get going.
Yeah. If I were industrious and enjoyed sharpening chains, I would have an old bar in my vise, and I would just be set up to sharpen a chain when I got back to the workshop, but I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah, me either.
Oh, and I did I bent a bar on it, which was just a oopsie. Um, had a big log I was sawing, and it kind of had a bend into it, and it just had some weird torque. And after I cut the log off, it kind of wouldn't allow the bar to come back. So
Mm.
I couldn't see it from where I was standing. So I started feeding the next cut. So I was driving that log into the bar in a down position. I bent it pretty good.
Oh.
Yeah, I bent the chain too. So those I did throw in the garbage. I need to do a video on that. I just start throwing everything in the garbage.
We'll not be swapping those out. Those are done for.
Yeah, I'll autograph it and give it away.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so I did. I stocked up. I bought some new bars because I think it's just important to have some extras. And I just have a nice stash of chains, um, the rubber flappers. The live deck is now fixed. I oiled the infeed chain. That was another thing that people were getting annoyed about. So just those 2 days, the machine was down, but I mean, and I cleaned it up a lot, and just because there's like these little nooks and crannies. If you look down inside some of the holes, in the tin and the panels, there's always a big pile of sawdust here and
Yep.
there. So I just spent a lot of time cleaning it up, and it just looks nice, and it was just running nice, and everything's nice.
Wow, you're all ready to go, repaired and all back up and ready to hit it for the fall push.
Yeah, it's time to get busy too because okay, August is hot. It
Yes.
could be the hottest. It's hot, but the deliveries are fewer. You got more time. So these last days, this week it was early morning processing, afternoon siesta, evening stacking, and then reload the table.
Repeat.
Yeah.
Rinse and repeat.
Uh-huh. And then the other thing too, that big pile of logs, my main pile that came off the just log hauler Jesse's truck or whoever's, I would pull out the oak because there were just a few of them in there. So then I just had a pile of oak. So I've been running oak this week too. That's probably why I've been kind of grouchy because it just smells over there. It smells like the cat threw up or something. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, oak does have that, and it stays around a lot longer.
Yeah, it does. It seems like when it dries out, it's not that bad. It kind of has an earthy kind of a smell to it, but I don't care what anyone says. It is just one of the worst odors that you can smell to me, like cat pee.
and split oak fire.
Yeah, cat pee, or when one of these deer die in my field, getting hit out on the highway. They start to smell kind of bad, and then oak firewood. Ugh, gosh. I've always said it smells like it takes me back to school when that kid would throw up in the hallway.
Yep.
And the janitor, the janitor would come walking down with his mop and bucket and his keys jingling on his belt loop, and then he would mop it up and spray that aerosol on it, and the hallway would just waft of this god awful odor.
Did they have the sawdust stuff that they pour on it? We always had that, where they like poured this like green sawdusty stuff on top of the vomit.
But it was always the aerosol can. I don't know what that stuff was, but it smelled worse than a puke. Other than that, I love oak firewood.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oak.
Ugh. Yeah. Don't like oak.
So one other thing, quick, I just thought of this right now. I think this will be coming out the second week of August, and so the week after that, for those of you listening that are going to be at the Boonville Woodsman's Day show, track me down and say hi.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I'll probably be at the Easton Made booth on Saturday, roaming around on Friday, and then of course Friday night we'll have the live stream from the hotel.
There you go. Is Yappa going to be there?
They are not.
They are not.
No.
All right.
They will not.
Well, I have some homework to give you. If there's a particular vendor there, if you could hit them up for me, I would appreciate that. Yeah. So are you driving or flying?
I am flying.
Okay.
My day is on the road riding in a car. Only if I have to. And 4 hours is my limit.
There's something to that. Driving isn't as fun as it used to be. Is it just because of traffic, you think? More cars on the road? I don't know.
I don't know. I just don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not as enjoyable to me as it used to be. I used to just love driving. I thought I would be, a truck driver, just living on the road. But now, gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The drive home is always the longest and takes forever.
Yeah. For me, I have told you before, I think I live in a simulation, in a computer simulation. That one video game, Grand Theft Auto, I told you that no matter when you're driving on a road, if you're coming to a blind curve, there's always a car coming the other way. If you decide to drive up the wrong way of a one-lane street, that there will be one car on that road all day long, and it's the moment you go the wrong way on that. And it's just the way it is with me. Whenever I drive down the highway, if I come up to a merge lane, there's a car right there. If I am going around a blind curve or a blind hill, there's a car coming the other way. Everything is just, gosh, it's just, that's why I feel like there's this one part on my daily commute. The moment I pull out into the intersection, there's a car coming over the blind hill. I can sit there for an hour and no one will come by, but the moment I pull out, here comes a car ready to run into me.
I'm going to have to start paying attention to stuff like this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You might think that I'm crazy saying that, but my wife, who doesn't agree with everything that I say, she will tell you that I'm right, that I'm either jinxed or I do live in a computer simulation.
Everyone's out on the road. They're watching you. They're tracking you down. They're making sure.
Yeah.
You're doing what
Same
you
thing
should
with
do.
red light, when you're pulling a trailer, especially, there's like that no man's land of if the light turns yellow, you can make it through the light. But if it turns yellow, you got to slam on your brakes, that little area in between. It always happens if I'm pulling a trailer. It doesn't matter. It is like there's someone standing off to the side waiting for me to get into the no man's land of that intersection. And then they hit the button to turn the light yellow and then to red. Gosh, it doesn't fail to happen to me.
I'm telling you, you need to get this dash cam rolling. We need some footage. We need to watch this.
Okay. That could be a good episode. Just my dash cam.
Yeah. But then make sure the mic is on so we can hear your commentary.
Yeah, you don't want to hear that. I haven't figured it. So I bought a new camera for my dashboard. I haven't done a video on that yet either. And it's hard for me to figure out because the screen's really small and you have to squint to see it. My eyes don't work as good as I used to. And I keep forgetting to turn it off. It plugs into the cigarette lighter. And I thought that when the car's off or the truck's off, the power's cut off and then the camera goes off. But it doesn't. It keeps running. And I keep forgetting to unplug it. And it just runs all the time. And I was laughing because it was a good thing I did have the volume turned off because I had about a 4-hour video of me changing the spark plugs in my truck that one day.
Oh, my.
Yeah. So you could have seen me out there sweating bullets and throwing wrenches and cussing.
That would have been good.
Yeah. But I saved everyone the spectacle of that. Forgot to turn the camera off. What the heck? And it filmed me the entire time. You could see me right through the crack of the hood.
Crack of the hood?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna attempt to tighten up this flow control valve, so there will be wrenches possibly being thrown around up here as well.
Yeah, there could be.
I don't know if I'll have a camera rolling either.
Sounds like it could be wholesome family entertainment. I think you videotape it.
No.
Well, Dan, that's probably enough gabbing from us. Maybe we better get busy. I got wood to make and you got a machine to put some drain pans underneath.
Yeah, I got to try to get things dialed in here, but it's interesting that, like I said, we both had issues going on. Things needed to be fixed. You couldn't get the wood coming in, and I having trouble getting the wood going out.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Well, between the two of us, we should be locked and loaded now.
Yeah, we're ready to roll.
All right. All right. Well, I want to thank everyone for tuning in to the Wood Hounds podcast. And thank you for making us the #1 firewood podcast in the world. Yes,
we'll see you right back here each and every week, unless we take a week off. 5 a.m. Wednesday morning. You can tune in to your favorite podcasting platform and catch the Wood Hounds.
That's right. And we want to tell everyone to be
safe.
Consider
having fun.
And have
a great day.